Hello everybody and welcome to the channel Bob Sales this times next year. So today's video is going to be a little bit different. I did actually want to do it like this, but my internet's not really allowing me right now. Every time I pop something up in the corner, it's actually crashing. So I've still not fixed that problem yet, so you're going to have to bear with me with that one. So today's video is actually going to be a little bit different. It's going to be based on all things Veve animation. So right now I'm going to look at like 15 to 16 collectibles, say, and we're going to judge it based on the animation. So there are certain criteria we are going to count into that. So with that being said, let's get into some of the criteria. So how well is the animation? Is it quality? Is it smooth? Does it look nice? Is it quick? Is it short? That's all part of the quality. The next one's going to be animation sound. So with animation sounds, like the cars, for instance, a lot of them don't have the sounds of engines. They don't have the sounds of screeching tires. But then we do have kit that has the annoying sound with it. That should be able to turn on and off, and you can't. So the next one's the character, the item itself, the likeness. So how much does the character, the NFT, look like the actual item from the movie, the series, whatever it's based from? So the next one's the IP rating. How do I rate the IP? So myself, when I'm rating the IP, is going to be different to a lot of other people. I'm English, so I grew up watching different programs. To Americans, I would have thought, not all different, but I can imagine we didn't all watch the same thing. So I can imagine this is going to be different for every person that does it. I'm not basing it on Hello Kitty's valued as #1 top value and Star Wars is #3. I'm basing it off my personal experience, my personal opinion, my personal connection to the IP itself. So the next one on the list is bonus points. So bonus points, this is going to be for NFTs that actually have extra items added to the animation, extra items we didn't know about. Maybe there's a couple of extra buttons, maybe there's a nice little logo, nice little stamp on the button. Could be anything like that. The next one's going to be the overall fun factor. So the fun factor, how much fun can you have with this NFT? Yes, you can take pictures with it, you can read them in AR, you can take pictures with them in AR, but how fun are they actually? Yes, a lot of the cars are drivable. Can they be fun? I'm going to give it points out of 10. And then after that, we'll see which one scores the highest overall. So the end score explains itself. That is going to be the end score. So with that being said, let's get into some of the collectibles. Hopefully my mic didn't drop out. My internet didn't drop out right now. It doesn't look like it. I do apologise about my hair, by the way. I don't know why I keep going to the wrong barbers, but I do. So anyway, I've been your host Bob Sales. I'm still your host Bob Sales even. Let's get into the video. So I think to start this one off, we're actually going to start with a DB5 Aston Martin. No Time to Die James Bond. With this collectible, the animation quality, I would give around an 8. The overall paintwork on this one does look a bit funny. It actually has patches on the paintwork, which I don't like and don't know where they come from. Of course, on this one, we have the machine guns, but we don't actually have any sound. So there's no sound to the machine guns themselves, there's no sound to the car, so that's definitely a 0. So the character likeness, the item likeness, of course this is a car, so it is an item. It does look like it should, apart from the paintwork. So again, I'm going to give this an 8 for that. Now the next criteria is the IP rating. With this one, for me, I'm not really a James Bond fan. I do know it's huge, but I'm not really a James Bond fan myself. Pierce Brosnan was the best James Bond. GoldenEye was an absolute amazing game for the N64. But again, the IP is not too great for me. But I am going to give it a solid 7. So with the bonus points, there's not really much you didn't expect with this one. I think the sound does let this one down. Now the fun factor with this one, I would say the fun factor is pretty high. It is drivable. It is a great collectible in AR. So I would give this one definitely an 8. But I give it an 8 down to the sound. No engine movements, no gun sound. Now I think the gun sound is a big letdown for this one. So that's going to leave you with a grand total of...
I am the voice of Night Industry 2000's microprocessor. KITT for easy reference. KIT if you prefer.
Michael, what shall I do while you're gone?
I beg your pardon.
Yes, well, don't you think you should pre-program me in the event you don't return?
KIT signing off.
Michael, what shall I do while you're gone? I believe it's time for a strategic withdrawal, Michael.
So I think sticking to the cars, the next one we're going to go for is KIT. So KIT's definitely a special one. It was definitely a one-off. There wasn't any other variations of this, so it does make it more special. Now, the animation quality, I would definitely give this one a 9 to 10. So I think I'm going to go with a 9 on this one. So with the interior on KIT, of course, it is a bit basic in places, but there is a lot going on at the same time. Now, there is actually 4 push buttons in there, and there is actually more buttons on the roof. If you push them, it does come out with different commands. Overall, I think I counted about 6 or 7 commands. Again, it's fully drivable, and of course you can open all the doors. Now the animation sound, now this one's a big miss on this one. So you actually have the sound of the front light. Now the front light does sound like that, but it doesn't keep going constantly, and there should be an option to turn it off. With the constant whirring in the background, that does bring this item down. So for the animation sound, I'm gonna give it a 3. Because there is sound there, but again, the sound is pretty annoying. There is no engine sound, no driving sound. So the next one's the likeness. Of course, this is kit. It does look exactly the same as kit. The inside's very nice. The light's very nice. It does look a bit basic on the outside. So with this one, I'm definitely going to give it a 9 out of 10. Now the IP rating for me, I did watch Knight Rider, even though it was past my age grade. Now Knight Rider's not the most popular program in the world, but again, you do still see it on TV, and it was big in America at the time. And of course in England. But for me, the IP being where it was, it's very nostalgic. So I think overall, I'm going to give this one a 6. Because it's nostalgic, but it's not very sought after anymore. Now, bonus points for this one, I'm definitely going to give it bonus points 10. There's so many buttons in here, you didn't know that actually work. There's so much detail on this one. You can drive it again, and we didn't know any of this at the time of the article. Now, the fun factor on this one, I'm actually going to give it a 5 or a 6. No, I'm going to stick with a 5. Now, I say this, out of all the things I say, it's got loads of details in there. You cannot turn a sound off, and it does make it very annoying to play with in AR, unless you're going to mute it. So that gives you an overall score of... So next one we're going to take a look at is the Mighty T-Rex. Of course, this is the ultra rare variant. This one is personally one of my favourites in the app, and it is definitely one of my favourite IPs of all time. So the animation quality on this one, I'm going to give it a 9. So the roar itself is absolutely perfect, and the animation's great as well. You can actually see the breathing, the texture's great. It actually looks perfect. So again, the animation sound, I'm definitely going to give the animation sound a 10. It sounds exactly how it should. It sounds like the end scene from Jurassic Park 1 in the hotel lobby when it roars right in the museum. So the character item likeness is actually perfect. I'm actually going to give this one a 10 because it looks spot on. Again, I did already say about the IP rating. For me, this is a personal favourite. For me, I think if you ask anyone that's seen a Jurassic Park film, that's how big these films are. And I did grow up to that, so it's definitely a favourite. So I'm actually going to give this IP a big 10. So bonus points for this one. I can't really give it any bonus points. It does what it should. It looks how it should. So I'm not going to give it any bonus points whatsoever. Now the fun factor, I am actually going to give this a fun factor of 9. You do see a lot of these used at concerts and stuff like that, and you always see pictures of them still to this day. So the end score of the Almighty T-Rex is... So the next one on the list is going to be the Incredible Hulk. And this one is the common variant, and I believe it's only one variation, and I believe it's not sold out yet. Now for animation quality, I'm going to give this one a 7 because I do believe the animation is pretty good. Does leave the cracks, I do like that. So yeah, I believe that's a solid start. Animation sound. Now I do like the sound on this one. You can hear the breathing, you can hear the smashing, you can hear it's the Hulk. With that being said, I'm going to give it a 7 because I do believe they could have added a Hulk smash pretty easily. Now the character likeness on this one is pretty hard because it definitely don't resemble the film Hulk we've got today. The green does kind of look like the old film Hulk, but this is a very comic style Incredible Hulk, should we say. So for overall likeness, I'm going to give this one a 6. Now the IP rating is of course Marvel themselves, so I would have normally give that a 10. But Marvel on the other hand recently with the movies have been sliding ever so slightly. So I'm actually going to give this one a 9 because I do believe the IP is slightly fell and gone off track a little bit. Bonus points, I am actually going to give this 2 bonus points because it does leave the crack wherever it smashes. Whereas I didn't expect that to be part of the animation whatsoever. Now the fun factor on this one is a bit hard, it is a bit samey. There is only one option, but you can do a lot with the one option. So I'm going to give this one an overall fun factor of 7. So the end score for the Incredible Hulk is... Next one on the list is the Star Wars Boba Fett. This is the ultra rare variant and it's I have you in my sights. With this one, the animation's really quality and I did actually have the fortune to land this on the drop. I'm going to give the animation on this one a 9 because it is smooth, it is quality, but I do think they could have added a bit more. With the animation sound, again, I do think the sound's really quality. I'm actually going to give the sound a 10. So the character, the IP likeness. Now at the time, if you'd have asked me, I would have referred back to the Boba Fett rocket firing Boba Fett toy, which is a story in itself. If you know about the history of that, that is a very valuable figure in the toy community, which I am part of. Of course, recently Disney have released The Mandalorian and several series along them lines. So this IP is definitely only going to get bigger. And of course, this is Star Wars. So I'm going to give the IP a 10, even though I don't really like Star Wars. Bonus points. Now, I'm not actually going to give this any bonus points because there's not any features what I wouldn't say we didn't expect. And the fun rating with this one, I am actually going to give this an 8 out of 10. I've seen a lot of people use this one in AR to play with, a lot of people to make film sequences with, and it's definitely a good collectible. So the end score for the rocket firing Boba Fett is... So the next one on the list is the 131 locomotive from Back to the Future. This one is actually personally one of my favourite ones in the app right now. There's only 800 of these that are sold so far. Now for the animation quality, I'm definitely going to give this one a 10. If I could give it an 11, I would, because it's absolutely beautiful. This one has so many working features on it, so many clogs. It's actually amazing. The animation sound, on the other hand, I'm going to give it a 0. It is a train that has no whistles, no animation sound, no electronic sound. It literally don't make any sound. So the character, the item likeness. Now I do like the likeness. I'm actually going to give it a 10 because it looks exactly how it should. Now the IP rating on this one, it is Back to the Future. But I am going to chuck into that it was in the movie for about 30 seconds. So the IP, yes, is very big, but the item itself is very small. So for me, because of that, taking all that into account, I'm going to give the IP rating a 7. So bonus points on this one, I'm actually going to give it a lot of bonus points. I'm actually going to give it 5 for bonus points. It is fully drivable. It has all the bells and whistles on it, apart from the sound of the bells and whistles. But the tyres look amazing. The launch looks amazing. And it's really easy to control in AR. One of the easiest vehicles to control. So, of course, that leads me on to the fun factor. Now, again, with this one, the fun factor, I am actually going to score it in 8. And that's because of the sound lets it down. So, no sound. It's not as fun without the sound, although it is great to control, great to play with, and it looks amazing. So, the end score of the train is... So, the next one we're going to take a look at is the Miles Morales Spider-Man, the secret rare. First, we'll take a look at the animation quality. So, with the animation, the quality itself, I do really like this one. I'm going to give it a solid 8. Again, with this item, the sound does let it down. There's no sound to the webbing, no sound to the jumping, no sound whatsoever. So with the sound, it gets a solid 0. The character, the item likeness, of course, it does look like Miles Morales Spider-Man. But again, it is a suit, so it's easy to copy. But it looks as it should on the tin, so I'm going to actually give this one a 10. Now, the IP rating, obviously, it's Marvel. It is Spider-Man, one of the biggest heroes they have. So I'm actually going to give this rating a 9 personally because I'm not the biggest fan of Spider-Man. Now, bonus rating for this one, I think when it goes invisible, you can actually see behind it. If that is a fact, please let me know in the comment section if that is true because I don't own one of these. But if that does work, I'm going to give it a bonus points of 2. Now, the fun rating itself, it is rather fun, as I say, for the AR pictures and stuff like that. I'm actually going to give the fun level a 7. Again, because of the sound, no animation to the sound. So that gives Miles a score of... So I think I'll leave the video there. Part 2 will be out tomorrow after this one. So with that, I've been your host, Bob Sales. This time next year, we will be millionaires. A peace.
Good dog, good family. Hold on to him tight. Get a little homesick for a while, better get over it. See you later, lads. See you, boss.
All right, Mickey. Laters. I see what all the fuss is about. That ain't bad, fellas. Sorry, Mickey. Just give us our money back and you can keep your caravan.
Why the fuck do I want a caravan? It's got no fucking wheels.